You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen. His website is thegoldenoilguy.com. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim.
Chris is a first-time guest on HowStreet.com radio, and maybe explain your philosophy for growing wealth.
Sure, yeah. My philosophy is strictly supply and demand. I follow the charts. I'm a technical analyst, and my main website is The Technical Traders, and simply all I do is focus on the charts and volume and some indicators, and I simply follow price action, and I play in favor of the current trend. So I don't really get into PE ratios too much. I don't get into any political stories, anything that's headline news. I actually don't listen to the news really at all, because I find it simply just clouds your vision and really starts to get you biased on really on the wrong direction, generally, is what the news is doing. So I strictly focus on price action. I keep my head in the charts, and when price starts to move, I get into positions, and I use strict risk and money management rules to make sure that positions are managed properly. I don't get into any of that fundamental side of things.
It's good not to be distracted.
It is. It makes a huge difference. It really does. Getting rid of the news and getting rid of reading a lot of other people's opinions, I find it, can really cloud an investor's judgment. And it's amazing how many followers I have. And every morning you wake up and I get emails in from people saying, well, this is what this guy said. This is what this guy said. And they're all contradicting. And it boggles my mind. It's hard for me to stay focused. I got to just tell people, you got to pick a direction. Everybody's got a different opinion. You've got to pick one that works with your risk and your mindset and what you believe is the right way. Because there's a million ways to trade the market, and a lot of them can all make money at the same time. It's all in your time frame and how you go about attacking the market.
Chris, you were talking about one of the key things we have to take a look at is the U.S. stock market. People tell us it's overbought, it's overpriced. Yet, your opinion?
Yeah, I think it is overbought. I think it's overpriced, but the markets will stay irrational longer than you can handle. And really, we've seen heavy distribution going on in the market. Small cap stocks, they've been struggling. Really, the market is just grinding its way higher. But as much as I think a major market top is coming, I don't think it's here yet. I think we could see the SP 500. It's currently trading at 2,100. I think we could see it go another 4.5% around the 2,200 mark, and then I think we're going to hit some serious resistance and start to see possibly the start of a major topping phase in the stock market. And that might coincide well with the sell in May and go away, the time frame, the way the distance in the charts. It all seems to be kind of pointing to that direction, but major market tops take a long time to play out. They're not an event. They're a process. And usually a major market top takes 6, 8, 12 months to fully develop and create a major top before it cracks to the downside, and we see the first initial, sell-off, and that's what really starts the bear market. So I think there's dark times coming for the U.S. stock market. I just don't think it's quite yet.
Chris, you feel there are some opportunities outside the U.S., and we'll talk about that when we return.
More and more people are looking to the internet for intelligent, riveting, and thought-provoking interviews. To advertise on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com, call 604-699-8600, 604-699-8600.
Welcome back. We're speaking to Chris Vermeulen, his website, thegoldenoilguy.com. Chris, outside the U.S., some opportunities will be cropping up or are cropping up. Where do you think those opportunities are?
Yeah, I think there's a handful of great opportunities slowly unfolding. And, the first one are commodities in general. I think the commodities market, if you go way back, look at the Curb Index, it has been beaten up really hard for a few years. And really the stock market, the U.S. stock market, has been rallying, and we've seen commodities going in the complete opposite direction. Obviously, we've had the huge sell-off in crude oil. Natural gas is trading at multi-year lows. Precious metals have just been clobbered. They've been trading lower. They topped out in 2011. And really all the money's just been going into the equities. And the time is coming here where we're going to get into the late stages, I think, of the U.S. bull market. and we're going to start to see it top out, and money's going to look for somewhere to go, something that's not overvalued, something that's been, underperforming or been going down for a long time. And you go, commodities are all trading, most of the commodities are trading sharply lower, down at major previous lows. Precious metals are down at the 2008 lows again, same with crude oil. So I think there's going to be money rotating out of equities once we get a little bit higher here into the commodities, and commodities typically hold up really well in the late stages of a bull market. So we're going to see that shift of, equities kind of starting to show distribution. We're going to see commodities all start to firm up, and we're going to see the basket of commodities start to move higher. So resource stocks should do well. And a lot of different countries, are very resource rich, including the Canadian market and Russia. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities in the commodity side of things. And when you go to look at other countries, there's three that I really do like. I like the Russia ETF, or the Russia stock market. It's got a PE ratio of 7, so it's really low valued. It's been trending lower for a long time. There's been a lot of negativity there. Money has been scared out of that market, and I think there's going to be a time when all that fear is going to dissipate, and it's going to be a great opportunity to get in when equities for Russia are very low. It'd be a substantial opportunity. And another one is Norway. Norway is right back down at the major lows it made in 2011. It had a huge rally and then crashed again in 2012 to that same level. And then we're seeing Norway back down at those 2011 and 2012 lows. And, it's got a very low PE ratio also. And I think that's got a great opportunity along with Greece. And, Greece has got the lowest PE ratio of them all. It's about under 3 or so. But, all those countries, when they have bad news going on and money's been going everywhere else, eventually money's going to trickle down to those super undervalued assets because there's nowhere else to go. And everybody's afraid of a bond collapse. So, we could see money really flow into these international equities.
Why are people so scared to take a look at markets in other countries?
I think investing in different countries is still really new for the masses. If you go and you talk to most investors, nobody really ever thinks they're going to buy Russia or, Norway or Greece. It's they don't even think that. So I think the whole international investing in just specific countries to the masses, it hasn't even really clued in that the opportunity is there yet. For us who are more active in the financial market, I think it's a great opportunity, but most people just don't see it. I think Americans like to look in America only at, their investments, and they are like, they kind of kingpin. So everybody kind of focuses on the U.S. stock markets. Of course, that's what pretty much all the major news outlets always show. So, it naturally, everybody gravitates to U.S. stuff. But if you just come outside the bubble, there are so many opportunities with huge moves that put the U.S. stock market to shame in terms of opportunities, just left, right, and center going international. Eventually, I think we still need another, 4 or 5 years, and I think ETFs and in all these new ways that people can invest with even automated trading, things like that. The whole investing world, I think, is just at a point where something's about to pop, and there's really it's going to open up, and people are going to realize, wow, look at all these opportunities. And I think, we haven't seen a lot of individual investors. They've been really falling to the wayside. They've been giving up on the markets. It's been, we just don't see the amount of individual investors really getting aggressive. Everybody seems to be toning things back, it looks like. I think there's going to be a time here when things crack open again, just like what we saw after 2008, the 2009 bottom. People finally say, they started looking at their investments and going, well, look at all these other things. Why wasn't I in those? And it really did spur on a lot of individual investors to be self-directed. And I think, we're going to get to a pop in the U.S. stock market, and people are going to be taking another haircut and lose half of their life savings at the worst possible time. And, people are going to start looking into this stuff. And a few years down the road, these international ETFs and currencies, things are going to really start to be second nature for the average investor. They're just not there yet.
Chris, thanks a lot for chatting with us.
I appreciate it, Jim. It's great being here.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen. His website is thegoldanoilguy.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. You can also find us on Twitter at Talk Digital Net. Comments or questions for the show can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.